Hey guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Shawn Pickens and Ashley Coulter here from the Frankfort Parks and Rec, historic sites. And get that whole thing out.
It's a long time.
I don't know. So what's new, guys?
We have a lot going on.
I know. Every
lot.
time we
Yes.
talk.
Well, it's summer, so you think,
Yeah.
that's a big time for the Parks and Rec and things that are happening. So,
a lot of youth sports, a lot of
Yeah.
adult sports, a lot of swimming at the pool.
yeah,
The
how's it
aquatic
been going
center.
so far this season?
Good. The aquatic center is good. We reach
Yeah.
capacity a lot. And,
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
we
great way to
we reach
cool off.
capacity just about every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the heat this summer.
Sure.
It's
Oh
really
my gosh, yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay. Well, I think do we want to jump into the association?
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, I
Okay.
think that's one of the things you guys
Okay.
have coming up. You got some meetings. I guess first one's tomorrow,
Yes.
right? To talk about sort of a switch in the organizational structure for your youth sports.
Potentially.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To talk
Potential.
about a
Yeah,
potential
very
switch.
potential.
And to get feedback from folks, right? I mean, it's all about their program.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
And so maybe let's talk a little bit. The sort of idea or concept is switching potentially the youth programs to an association format. And
Correct.
so it's going to be, I'm guessing, an informational sharing opportunity kind of both ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe let's start with talking about what it might look like, and then we can kind of get into pros and cons and, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have our first meeting tomorrow night at 6:00 at Juniper Hill.
Okay.
And so it'll be public information, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll discuss a youth sports association for the city of Frankfort and Franklin County, because Frankfort Parks and Rec, we don't only supply youth sports for the city, but also for the entire county. Okay. So we're looking at potentially reaching out and forming a youth sports association, as I mentioned. And what an association is basically a group of individuals made up of parents and community members, business owners. It's not like a private corporation or entity. It's not
Sure.
like a business coming into town that's based out of Louisville or Lexington. It's still
It's a
based.
local
It
community
is a
members.
local community. It is based here. It's parents of current players, past players, or whatever, that basically form a board. A board of directors. There's a president and a vice president and a treasurer and a secretary, and then there's members at large that make up this board. And it could be as many as 14, 15 people or more made up. You have league directors. You may have the T-ball director on the board, and you may have the 6 to 7 year old director, and for baseball and for softball. So it's a wide ranging, and it's all local community people.
Yeah. And it would be a volunteer board.
And it would be a volunteer board,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay.
So they form this association, and they would have a 501c3, which allows them to seek out donations and things like that from the community. So the plant board, for example, could donate and
Sure.
help be a sponsor and be a supporter. Buffalo Trace and all the other community organizations, the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, all those folks could jump in and be a partner
Is
with
that
the
kind of thing,
association.
I'm guessing that's pretty hard to do now in your current
It's
structure.
tougher. It's tougher
Like you
just
could maybe
because
sell advertising at the park or something,
right.
but it's harder to get.
And that's one of the plus sides of this is they're their own separate entity. They're separate, but they're not. They still work with us. They use our facilities. They play ball at the park, and we have people that would be on the board as well with the park to have representation.
Sure.
And still, so we're not like just totally be gone.
We're
with
still
it.
stakeholders in the
Right,
in the
we're still
program.
stakeholders in it. It broadens the stakeholder list,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
And typically more parents can get involved and whatnot. So, this is something potentially that we're looking at. It's nowhere near being a done deal.
So
It's-
what spurred this on to think about doing something different?
Yeah, a couple different things. For the past really 2 or 3 years, it's been discussed at the Parks Advisory Board meetings. We have quite a few board members that have had a youth sports background. That other counties around, just about all the counties that surround us. Lexington, Woodford County, Scott County, Anderson County to the south of us. They all have youth sports associations. So it's just kind of been talked about in advisory board meetings for a while, and just kicked around. And so finally, it just kind of picked up some steam. And to be truthful, some of it is also budget wise.
Yeah.
The city.
Sure.
Yeah, the city.
There are
has,
limits as to what you can do.
There
now.
are limits to what we can do, in tax funding and the things like that. The tax dollars are getting stretched. There's that's no secret. There's a lot of park improvements that need to be made on other facilities and things. The aquatic center, the golf course, East Frankfort Park. That just takes a demand on the fund. So this would help alleviate.
It would kind of be a little more, not independent, but it would be able to kind of self-sustain a little bit more.
That's
in this
right.
kind of, especially on the funding side.
That's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
that's certainly an advantage.
And again, I come from a place where, I watch a lot of government meetings and, and when you have, taxpayers are putting it, they want to know that the taxes they're paying are going to something they're using.
Right.
And, some people being like, I don't want all my money to go to doing the stuff that I don't have anything to do with.
That's a good point.
And I hate to, that they're, that to look at it that way. But this really puts the focus on the people who are involved and that really have a vested interest in the success of youth sports.
Yeah.
And that can really be a part of, its success.
That's right.
Yeah.
It kind of broadens out, and we hear sometimes we hear a ton of good stuff about our youth sports programs, but from time to time there are folks that feel like,
what if you did this, or could we do this more of
that's
that?
right.
Or,
you do this or do that.
Yeah.
Then this gives them a much better chance,
Right.
to be involved and be on that board, because it's it's basically parent led.
Yeah.
Basically.
Plus, it's a focus on what they're interested in.
That's right.
And not,
Exactly.
all of the stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So the idea is at the meeting, again, tomorrow night at Juniper Hill, and then the second meeting on
It's
Monday?
Yeah, July 15th.
And that'll be at East Frankfort Park.
Yeah,
near
we're
the
going to do it
ball
at the
fields.
lower pavilion down by the ball fields, and
Okay.
both those meetings are going to be at 6 p.m.
Okay. So you kind of go over what the association format looks like or might look like, talk about the other communities and seek feedback, right,
Yeah.
from the folks that will be there.
Seek feedback. Part of this, we've got a survey out on our website now. We've had a survey out for, probably almost 2 months now, taking feedback on this.
Yeah.
And also on the survey, there's information on there, basically what I've explained today. There's information on there. There's links to other communities, to their association web pages,
Yeah.
where people can go and look and see how things are set up and, see all the different sponsors
Yeah.
and whatnot. So we've been pushing it out there. So these meetings are, again, to just be there in person. Ashley and I will be there and we'll answer questions. It's just trying to educate.
Yeah.
A lot of folks just don't understand, what it is. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to
Yeah.
do. With these meetings and with our online, and we have information on our website too.
Yeah.
So
So the first meeting is tomorrow.
Yep.
And the other meeting, second
Monday.
meeting is
Monday.
Monday.
Monday at 6:00.
And then what?
Yeah.
So that,
right.
yeah. So like I said, we've had the survey out a couple months now, and then so we'll have these public in-person meetings. So then we're going to take the survey information and then take the information, the feedback we get from these public meetings, and we're going to take that all, put it into a nice presentation and gather all that out, get all that data, and then we're going to present to the Board of Commissioners
Okay.
what we have found and what the community feels
Yeah.
and whatnot, and then we'll take questions from them. It's
Yeah.
ultimately going to be the BOC's decision to
Right.
make.
So would they would take action to establish this
That
association or give the parks the ability to?
they would basically give us their blessing
Yeah.
to move forward with the next steps in establishing an association.
Right.
So if they look at the community feedback and ask questions of us and they said, look, we don't want to rock the boat here. We
Right.
feel like it's running fine the way it is. Then we'll just keep rolling.
Yeah.
We're always making tweaks.
Sure.
And Ashley every day is looking at little different things to do and change and changes to the draft of how we select teams. We went back to live arm pitching this year, which was her idea, which has been a huge in softball. We
Yeah.
went back to hybrid
Yeah.
live arm pitching in softball, which has been a huge. We've gotten positive feedback on that,
Yeah.
so we'll continue moving forward. But if the commission feels that this is the best way of moving forward, we'll then basically start the process of either putting out an RFP or reaching out to folks to say, hey, start a core group and say, are you interested in forming the association?
Yeah.
And then start to get the people that are interested in. And then you have to go through the 501c3 process through the federal government, which takes time and things like that. So then we'll get the ball rolling there. And then even if the BOC gives us their blessing, if things don't come together and the interest just isn't there,
Right.
then
Yeah, because you need
we're not just going to
buy-in,
drop the
right?
program.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not just going to drop the program. We're going to keep it going strong. We're going to keep rolling and keep improving as we go.
Yeah.
If the association happens,
Yeah.
It'll be kind of like a slow handoff.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about it internally with the city manager, and there's a lot of support for continuing to assist in funding the association.
Yeah.
Because when they first start, they're not going to have a huge bank account.
Sure. Right.
You're
They're
right.
not going to have
Right.
a ton of donations.
Sure.
So the city's the plan right now is to not just, okay, it's all you,
Yeah.
where to go.
Cut off.
2-3 years in,
Yeah.
still help support and subsidize that association.
Help
to help-
phase it into what
to
it
phase it in,
could be.
exactly.
Yeah.
To not just wash our hands of it
Right.
completely.
Yeah. Good plan.
That's the plan currently. And like I mentioned, if it doesn't happen, then we will continue to roll on and continue to do youth sports as we have since the parks has been.
Yeah. But I think it's your responsibility to bring these things
Yeah.
about to talk about.
That's right.
Here's
and that's
an
what-
option. Do
it's
we
an
want to do
op-
this or
it's-
not?
Exactly.
Here are some advantages. Here are some, and it might, not be an advantage,
That's
a
right.
drawback, advantages. Let's talk about it. What do you think about it?
That's
and
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
Well, I think it's great that you guys are having these conversations. I mentioned before, living in Woodford County, we have those associations and we participate in them, and I see the benefits of the parental involvement and the community involvement and really ownership in those sports. So I would be an advocate for it, but totally understand that the community needs
You
to
don't
make
go
their,
here.
I don't. But the community needs to make their own decision.
That's
and,
right.
You
we're
guys-
not rushing into it.
Yeah, you guys do a
we're
great
taking
job.
plenty
But
of-
As it
again, there
is,
is
but-
something about, and this, pun intended, but having skin in the game. Everybody that's involved, has skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of, again, leads to success.
But I think more control too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure,
like you
absolutely.
mentioned, Ashley had a great idea about live pitching, but it's like, if that's what they want to do, then they can do that. And as a community, as an organization, they can make those decisions as opposed to having to, not that it's all you, but you know what I mean, that having to have a single or a couple people, have to take all that information and make a decision.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think Harvey and I have decided.
Yeah.
So you can take that to the board.
Can add that to your presentation. Fully endorsed from around town. All right, so we'll reinforce the meetings, but what other things? You guys are busy. What else is happening?
Yeah, so parks, we talked about it. Busy time of the year
Yeah.
for us. It's actually always busy, but summer's just busier.
Right.
So July is National Parks and Rec Month.
Okay.
So cool way to celebrate by being in your parks and in the city. It's
Yeah.
a great place to be.
We got great parks.
We
Yeah.
do. There's always something going on. So lucky for us, we have a lot of partnerships. So there's a lot of events that happen within our parks that aren't necessarily our events, but we partner with different organizations. So you can check out those on our Facebook. We have SummerSlam, which is a pickleball tournament coming up this weekend. And there's a back to school bash coming up closer to school time. That'll be held out at Dollygram as well, among many others.
Yeah.
So those are all usually shared on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So that's the best way to keep up to date on all the things.
Absolutely.
All the
We have
opportunities.
a great PR professional who runs our page and keeps everything shared and relevant. So great place to check out. But the biggest thing we have actually this week is our movie night. And that'll be at State Stadium.
Okay.
We're
Oh, nice.
showing Field
this
of
weekend.
Dreams. Yeah,
Oh.
it
Friday
is.
night.
Friday night.
Friday night.
Gates will open at 7:30. Movie showtime will be at 9:30. It'll be down at State Stadium on Reagan Street, like I said, and it's free.
Nice.
So
If you
come
build
out.
it, they will come.
Yeah, there'll be food trucks and bounce houses. So it'll be a great time,
Yeah.
and the weather shouldn't be too terribly unbearable at 9:30. I
Yeah.
would
Oh,
think
yeah.
by movie time.
It's going to be
Nice
warm. Bring lots of water.
Yeah. Stay hydrated,
Yeah.
people.
And then our fall ball signups have already started. So
Okay.
they started July 1st and will run through July 31st. You can find information about that on our Facebook page as well and on our website. and get signed up for our fall ball, which is set to start mid-August.
Okay. And on your website for that and any other things happening around with Parks and Rec, that's the place
That's
to
the
go.
place. Yep.
Okay.
FrankfortKYParksandRec.com.
You got it.
All right, so just a reminder, tomorrow night at Juniper Hill, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And then,
At the Jack Williams Pavilion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Monday at the lower pavilion at East Frankfort Park.
Correct.
Yep.
6
Yeah.
o'clock.
Yep.
And Friday night at State Stadium.
Yep.
Friday
Yes.
night, 6 Stadium. Question of the day. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have had massive, sports careers. Any moments that you want to share with the folks?
Any
Good or bad, or
She's the athlete.
I played a lot of ball, a lot of softball growing up. I don't have one particular outstanding shining moment that I recall. However, when I was, I don't know, probably 15 or 16, I played in a Babe Ruth on a travel team, and we played in a national invitational tournament in Missouri. So that was kind of cool.
yeah.
We got to travel, and when I say travel, it was like interleague stuff, but that was like a big travel thing
Yeah.
because that was a long time ago, kind
Yeah.
of before all this travel stuff
know,
existed.
right,
And,
Right.
yeah, even
so
going
that
to the
was
next
cool.
town was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, we went to. I'm from Shelby County, so when we went to Mount Washington was
Right.
like a big deal. So yeah, going to that tournament was pretty
and
significant.
doing things like that, good team building, and you
Sure.
get to get to
Yeah.
know the people that you're playing this game
Yeah,
with.
yeah. We those girls, we played a lot of ball together.
Yeah.
My dad coached us, and it was
Yeah.
just
Oh, fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sean, do you have any?
Well, I've had so many I can't even pick.
How do I narrow it down?
But probably the thing that I remember most from my youth sports day was when I was younger, when in the 5, 6, 7-year-old, I usually played basketball for the most part, and I played baseball. But I remember in basketball, I kept trying and could never score. I was really short, really small, and so I just could not score a basket for the life of me. And I tried and tried and tried. I remember for 2 or 3 years. Well, I finally scored.
Hey.
And I just remember just going nuts.
Yeah.
Down the court.
Just flying down the court, taking the shirt off, everything, just going nuts. I still remember that to that day. But that one basket. But then after that, of course, I was never a superstar by any means. But I remember after that, everything just came a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I scored a lot more after that.
It's confidence
and-
building.
Yeah, confidence
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
So many life lessons in youth sports, right?
Yeah. I never went on to win any big championships at high school or whatever, But that was my youth sports thing that I remember the most for sure.
That's a good
So
one.
It is a good one.
yeah,
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming here and for taking care of all of the things that you guys take care of with youth sports and all the parks happenings
Appreciate it.
around town.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.